Good afternoon. You're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. The European Union is looking for new ways to finance Ukraine's defense. Finance ministers are meeting in Luxembourg on Friday, and at the top of the agenda is whether to grant Ukraine a reparations loan. Our EU correspondent Andrii Sybiha, who is in Brussels, has more.
Ukraine needs cash and it needs it now. This is exactly why the European Commission is pushing forward with an audacious proposal to give the war-torn country a €140 billion loan to fund its war efforts as well as future reconstruction costs. Finance ministers are meeting in Luxembourg on Friday to hammer out the proposal. We're not expecting to see them vote in approval of this thus far. However, what we're hearing from our sources is that the conversation is ongoing, but the major challenges remain. This is, of course, convincing Belgium that this is a good idea and that country won't land in hot water. Now, Belgium hosts the lion's share of frozen Russian state assets, €140 billion of which would fund this reparations loan. However, we heard that Prime Minister state in recent days that he needs written guarantees from his 26 other allies that they will share the cost. However, there are many other obstacles that are on the table, which is exactly why they sent in the European Commissioner for the Economy, Valdis Dombrovskis, to convince the 27 leaders.
We expect to be able to table a concrete proposal in, well, I would say reasonably short time, because it's also needed to make sure that Ukraine is having a financing at the latest by early second quarter of the next year.
That is European Commissioner for the Economy, Valdis Dombrovskis, speaking there of the major obstacles that remain regarding that reparations loan. What we're hearing in the Belgian capital are officials stating, trying to convince leaders that this is indeed a legal and sound proposal in which that is not the confiscation of frozen assets, it is merely the borrowing. But the big question remains is whether Ukraine has time to wait. We saw those major attacks occurring late Thursday evening in the southern Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia, which left one child dead and dozens wounded, of course, damaging critical energy infrastructure, sending that capital city into a breakdown in electricity. So, of course, we know that the European Commission wants to move forward with this proposal by the end of next year. However, we don't know whether Ukraine can wait. Andrii Sybiha from Brussels for TVP World.
The EU appreciates Poland's solidarity with Ukraine and its decision to welcome Ukrainian refugees, said European Commission spokesman Markus Lammert when asked about President Karol Nawrocki's letter to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Lammert added that the Commission fully supports Poland in its effort to protect its borders, taking into account the scale of Poland's effort to accommodate Ukrainian refugees. On Thursday, President Nawrocki wrote in a letter to the European Commission President that Poland will not consent to actions by European institutions aimed at relocating illegal migrants to its territory. He expressed hope that the Commission President will take this into account. Ukraine continues to grapple with Russian aggression. In the most recent attack, a child was killed in Zaporizhzhia. Drones and missiles also damaged Kyiv's power grid, cutting off electricity to thousands of people. Against this backdrop, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski has traveled to Ukraine to meet with his Ukrainian counterpart Andrii Sybiha.
Ukraine was rocked by another wave of Russian attacks overnight on Friday. In Zaporizhzhia, a 7-year-old boy was killed. At least 3 other people were injured, and civilian infrastructure was damaged.
All the windows are shattered. The roof is pierced, the ceiling too. Everything is damaged.
There was a barrage of strikes. In total, we counted 32 explosions, brazen, cruel, at night as always. All the damaged sites were civilian infrastructure.
Near Kyiv, where at least a dozen people were injured,
it was another heavy night.
TVP World's guest was woken up by violent explosions from incoming drones.
The attack was going on for a whole night, and in the morning we received the information that also the ballistic rockets are heading Kyiv.
Thousands of people were left without power after Russian forces targeted Kyiv's power grid. But hope prevails.
Nobody is panicking. We're used to it. We had electricity recently, now we don't. We'll see how it goes.
In other areas of Ukraine, residents are encouraged to seek safety elsewhere.
I am addressing the residents of the city today, especially elderly people and families with children. It is time to evacuate.
Some have left already.
My daughter used to live in Zaporizhzhia, but they've left. I'm guarding both places now.
Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski traveled to Ukraine on Friday to meet with his Ukrainian counterpart Andrii Sybiha and to receive an honorary degree from Lviv University. He used the press conference at the university to deliver a reminder.
These attacks are a very serious event. It's the latest in a series of escalations. We know why they're doing it, to instill terror in the people ahead of the upcoming winter. Attacking civilian targets is a war crime. Putin is already facing charges for kidnapping and Russifying Ukrainian children. You'd think that would be enough for him.
He also called for a tougher response to Russia's relentless attacks.
And yet we have another wave of attacks. That's something that demands a response, ramping up sanctions on Russia and increasing aid to Ukraine.
During the conference, Sikorski added that although Europe continues to face hybrid threats coming from Russia, responding to them has already become a much quicker process.
A military court in the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don has sentenced a prisoner of war from the Ukrainian Azov battalion to 18 years in a maximum security penal colony. Vitaly Kostyuchenko, 32, reportedly admitted to participating in a terrorist organization. The Russian court found Kostyuchenko guilty of teaching terrorist activities without specific evidence. According to the website of the Ukrainian Interior Ministry, Kostyuchenko was reported missing in September of 2022. After his capture, his fate remained unknown for a long time. The Azov battalion was based in Mariupol in the Donetsk Oblast and defended the besieged Azovstal plant in that city. After the defense of the facility ceased to continue, many Azov soldiers were taken prisoner by Russia. In August 2022, the battalion was designated a terrorist organization by the Russian Supreme Court. Security, loyalty to the state, a citizenship test, and a good command of the Polish language. These are the four main pillars of the government's proposed changes to the process of obtaining Polish citizenship. The new requirements were outlined on Friday by Deputy Interior Minister Magdalena Rogózka. According to the Interior Ministry, the number of people who acquired Polish citizenship last year grew by nearly 37%.
Polish citizenship and the granting of this citizenship should be conducted in a safe way and should, on the one hand, protect the citizens of our country, and on the other hand, provide guarantees that people who obtain this citizenship are properly assimilated, have established their life here, live respecting our culture, traditions, language, and are loyal to our state. We're talking about security, loyalty to the state, a citizenship test, and a good command of the Polish language. These are all very important matters, all very important issues that we need to debate very seriously.
French President Emmanuel Macron has met with members of major French parties to select the country's new prime minister. France has spiraled into political chaos yet again after Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu resigned just hours after appointing his new cabinet and only 1 month into the job. Lecornu's new cabinet was set to convene for the first time on Monday. However, his choice of ministers angered both sides of the political spectrum, with some calling the appointments too right-leaning, while others thought them not right-wing enough. Lecornu was President Emmanuel Macron's 5th prime minister in 2 years, and experts described his resignation as yet another sign of France's deepening political crisis. French politics has become increasingly unstable since Macron's re-election in 2022, as no party holds a parliamentary majority. His decision to call a snap parliamentary election last year deepened the crisis by producing an even more fragmented parliament. And so this would be all the latest news for now. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Klaudia Czerwińska, and I hope to see you back here on TVP World for more news and features.